Blah.
You should know this one.
He's got 4 microphones.
Hit we had around the world.
He's got 4 microphones in all sides of the stage. You know another band that has like a really like customized like insane live show setup is Metallica. And you know what's funny? I don't think Metallica will ever hang it up. I think Metallica will be Metallica as long as I was gonna say so. Okay, here's an interesting question. I know even less about Metallica than I do about Kiss. How about that? If James were to leave the band or pass away, unfortunately, suddenly, God forbid, knock on wood, pass away, him or Lars, would the band continue? I think if something happened to Kirk, Metallica would continue to be Metallica because they were Metallica. But if Lars, and maybe even if something happened to Lars, I don't know, some like hardcore Metallica fan, I wish Joe would know, actually. Joe would tell me. If I think if something happened to Lars, they could still maybe even go on. Maybe they would want to go on. Maybe Lars would want them to go on. He wouldn't want Metallica to end. Lars and Kirk with Rob on bass, that they could go on. But if something happened to James, that would be that would be it, that they could not. So is James like the one, is James the irreplaceable member of Metallica? I don't know. Someone might say, hey, Jeff, you have no idea what you're talking about. Like, they are nothing without the signature Kirk, guitar licks, riffs and whatnot. Like, you can't go on being Metallica without that. We know that they could be Metallica without Rob because they were Metallica for 30 years or more, 20 years without Rob Trujillo in the band, right? But could they go on without James? No. Could they go on without Lars? I mean, that's like the sad truth about like drummers, though. I don't know. It's weird. That's not the right thing to say, because there's some drummers that are like, look at Keith Moon. The Who tried to be the Who without Keith Moon, and they failed miserably. Look at Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin could not be Led Zeppelin without John Bonham. They did they kind of were themselves with Jason Bonham, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't exactly the same. Although those reunion concerts were well received. If I'll tell you one thing, I hate to say it, but it's true. This is sacrilege to say, but if Ringo had died and not John Lennon, I'm sure that the Beatles would have reunited as the Beatles without him. That they would have 100%. They would have. They were the Beatles before Ringo, and they could have been the Beatles again without him. I mean, and I am an avid Ringo fan, and I will defend Ringo to the ends of the earth. But I mean, I'm like looking at the brass tacks, and that's what they would do. Would Metallica do the same with Lars? Could Metallica? And that's the thing. Like, I don't, if like, let's say that nothing happens to either one of them, or until something happens to either one of them, I think Metallica will go on for the next however many years. Maybe the next. That what Metallica's in their mid 50s. I think Metallica could easily have another 20 years in them if they wanted to. Yeah, there's another 20 years in Metallica for sure. Yeah, it's just one of those things. Like, they're never gonna stop. But they have a very intricate stage show like Kiss does here. They have like the rotating concert stage, whatnot.
For loving you. 1, 2, 3.
How long does he stay on this stage for? I mean, that's the problem. I like literally don't even know. I don't know half of Kiss's songbook. I just don't know enough of it. Like, I would be bored out of my mind for half of these songs, like even with all the pyro and stuff, because I just wouldn't know I just wouldn't know it. I just wouldn't know. Okay, Dagger is saying that the guys in Metallica are like 60. Still, I still think that if they're in good condition, nothing bad happens to them, I do think they have another 20 years left. But Dagger, here's the more important question: is would they continue without Lars? Would they continue without Lars? That's what I want to know. If something happened to Lars, That's the interesting question. James of Metallica is a year older than Doyle. Okay. Okay, that sort of that's that there you go. Yeah, I was just bored of it. This doesn't interest me. Here, let's go to the actual here's the full show. Okay. This is the full live show. There it is. That's the full show.